Good morning.
You need to get some tips from Kevin Van Eck. He has a really good music playlist, so as people come in, they can be like grooving to some hits.
Oh, I know. I do. I don't know how to put the music on here yet. I'm gonna have to figure that out. That would be really good. It's just a little nice to start the day that way.
Yeah, I think Kevin secretly wants to be a DJ once the bars are back up and opening.
I don't know if he's super secretive about it, actually.
No, probably not. If you ask him, he'll admit to it.
Right.
That's his jam.
Okay, we've got quite a few people here. We're just waiting for Thad to get started. And
he's upstairs. Do you want me to tell him he forgot to jump on?
I just texted him.
Oh.
Do you guys hear all the doorbells ringing when somebody comes in? Or is it just me?
I can.
You can, okay. So
yeah.
You're gonna turn that out too. Oh, sorry.
Going crazy. I'm kidding.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe what we'll do is just get started so we can be sensitive to everybody's time here, and then when Thad comes in, we'll have an opportunity to let him talk. But I just wanted to welcome everybody. Sorry, it's making me look here in the waiting rooms. Okay, I wanted to welcome everyone to our meeting, and also say that it's been really wonderful to meet most of you. I've had the opportunity now to probably have one-on-ones with maybe 60, 70 people over the last 6 weeks, and it's been really great to get to hear what's going on, what's important to you, and a lot of the things you're going to be seeing over the next couple of months kind of are a direct response to those types of things. So what we'll be doing is hearing also, sorry, this thing is, I'm gonna have to turn off this doorbell. It's like somebody's just ding dong ditching me from Halloween. I don't know if everyone can hear that, but all right, so with that, we'll just get started. I do want to wish everybody a very, very happy 10th anniversary. This is 10 years that the At Properties Winnetka office has been going around, and it's kind of very fitting that Amy Core is here with us, since she was the person who opened this office. And I didn't know if you wanted to say anything, Amy, about 10 years in the making.
Good luck, Tom. Good luck. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I think it's wild that it's been 10 years, and it's so funny because I remember sitting at the office, or in our office, Tom, and I remember talking to Thad when it first opened, and he said, so, how do you think things are going? And I said, well, I think things are going pretty well. And he said, well, you're either going to be hugely successful or you're going to fail miserably. And Amy, we're just going to wait to see what happens. So glad to say that I'm still here, hanging on barely by a thread, but I couldn't be more proud, I think, and happy for who is really kind of stepping in to take Winnetka on to success for another 10 years. Tom has really, I think, just jumped. A lot of you have gotten to know him already. If you haven't had a chance to have a one-on-one, I highly recommend it. He's just got some great ideas. He's also just come off of sales, so he's very into the mix of what's going on and what all of you, I think, are going to need to continue to be successful. So I think you're in great hands. I am still around and available, but I think Tom's doing a great job. So yeah, 10 years, how time flies, right?
I can imagine. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to get into it. We have a good amount of information today, and one of the things that we follow is a format that's been going on for a while, but I want to talk a little bit, just the schedule for today. I was going to talk a little bit about the market stats locally and what we're doing with regards to market share, then talk about some of the things that are upcoming within the Winnetka market, also some fun things for our office specifically, the redesign and things there. Also about what's happening nationally in the market. I know a lot of people have I'm just going to mute everyone for a second there because we're getting some background noise. But if you're like me, I think about 3 to 4 months ago, I was a little bit worried about what was going to be happening in the market. Well, we all were very, very worried. But the data is starting to show that we have, in fact, the only thing we should be worrying about that next year might be busier by about 8% than it was this year, if you can imagine that. So it's actually pretty good news for us. And we'll go through what's happening there as well, and what people are talking about at a national level. Also have a couple of introductions of 2 new members that have joined our team, and they'll say hello to us. And then, we'll wrap up with what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So just in talking about our stats, as I said, these are numbers that you guys see quite a bit, each month. Also, I can pull these for you at any time. So if you are doing a listing presentation or with buyers and you want to know what's specifically happening in a market, I can pull these for you up to date at any time. I can also pull them with your numbers specifically if that's going to be useful for you. And I know a couple of agents already have been doing that with me, where they asked me to pull market share on that perspective. So the one thing I wanted to say about each of these, and we're going to go through them briefly, but Glencoe, we've actually stretched even further with regards to our share from the last time we looked at this. Also, I don't know if you can see that, but our average sales price versus what anyone else is doing, we're at 1.26 million for at properties. Our next competitors Compass are at 1.17, which is a pretty big difference with regards to the average costs. And Amy, you're very close to this data too. So if there's anything I'm saying that you'd like to add to, please, jump in, because you're the expert on this.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I mean, I think we're just continuing to see our momentum. I mean, Glencoe this year has been really an active market. I mean, I think we've seen all of our markets bounce back, but, just in a lot of conversation, Glencoe has really seen just a lot of pickup, and you can see right now that we're really kind of dominating that market, both with listings and with the buyers that we're bringing through.
Excellent. And then Kenilworth, I wanted to also just talk a little bit about that. This is the one thing I was really surprised by this. And again, you guys look at this data quite a bit, but the difference that we have over our competitors is significant, but also the average price per home is significant. So 1.7 versus 1.45 as the average list price for at properties is a big, big jump. That's something to be proud of and to talk about. And I'm going to just go on to the next one, Northfield, because we have quite a bit today. Northfield, also, again, the market share has been there. I know Northfield has also been a little bit slower with days on market than the other markets. It's a little bit tougher. But the one thing that we do have here as well is the average list price is significantly higher even there as well. Right? You can see the numbers there, but 737,000 is our average list price. Versus 667 for Compass and 630 for Coldwell Banker. So not only do we own the market share, we own the higher end of the market. Wilmette, the same thing. Although, and I know, Amy, you probably have a point about Wilmette, but just in looking at what we did with Jorge produces those reports that I put out every Tuesday morning, and it shows the difference between this year versus last year since COVID. And there's been a significant uptick in Wilmette. Mute everybody here for 1 second.
Yeah, there's a couple of people that just jumped.
Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to mute you there, Amy. Sorry. Although this is kind of fun. So I have to say, so
I think the biggest thing when you look through all of for everyone to keep in mind is if we're going into next year and all indications are showing that it is going to be a really strong market, just as strong, maybe even stronger than what we saw, this summer and into the fall. Look at those numbers and look at who predominantly it has the buyer transactions and the listings. What I think we all need to do as a company and as a team is make sure that we're really communicating well with one another. When we know that we have listings that are coming to market, odds are we probably also have a buyer within at properties that is looking for that type of a house. So, with having as much of the inventory, which is going to be key, we're also probably pulling a lot of the buyers. So I just think it's important that we make sure that we are giving one another the best shot and best opportunity to align and match our, buyers and sellers out there, because I think it's going to be a lean market next year for buyers coming in, and wherever we can create opportunity and work collaboratively, I think is going to be really important.
Great. And it's funny, when I was pulling these numbers this morning, not only do we have the larger list price, at 928 versus anybody else, but versus, just to Amy's point, the number of buyers versus sellers we have is double than all of what everybody else is doing. So just buyers alone is double than anything Compass is doing in Wilmette, which is pretty exciting. Winnetka, also the same type of perspective. We have our average list price in frat properties in Winnetka is 1.43 versus 1.22. So really, that has been a stretch from last year as well. There's been about a 2 or 3% gain in the upper market, so that's saying quite a bit as well. And then lastly, we'll just talk about Nutra, and I think Thad just joined us, so we'll wrap this up on this part of it. But Nutra, if you just look at the entire market, and I this is, as you all know, this is newer for me, so I was pulling some really fun statistics, everything from Cook County to the entire MLS to the entire Midwest. This chart looks the same pretty much across the board. But if you look at Nutra in general, the growth we have looks just like Wilmette. We're doing more than Compass just on buy side alone, if you look at the total volume of dollars. So we really are taking the cake there on that, which is great. Okay, so before we get into that, I wanted to go back and I know we've got a special guest star that just joined us, and I wanted to see if he could unmute himself. I don't know if, oh, it looks like you're unmuted there, so that's great.
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
Awesome.
Just first of all, I'm just looking through everybody. It's so awesome to see everybody. I feel so far removed since COVID. There hasn't been, the only time I've been in Winnetka is to stop and get a hot chocolate when I'm teaching kids to drive at like 9 at night when we drive up there before we drive home, because we're not really hopping around offices these days. So I feel, I don't know, I guess distant from the office a bit. So it's nice to see everybody's face.
Good to be seen.
So a couple things that I wanted to go over. And I know one thing is that the trend of people moving to the suburbs, if people think that's going to be over when there's a vaccine and things kind of, quote unquote, progress to being back to normal. And I think the answer to that is no, because once you have people starting a trend, like you have families that are moving to Winnetka, moving to Glencoe, moving to Highland Park. Look at Highland Park's inventory a year ago to now. That's insane. Same with Lake Forest. Their friends follow them. And usually when people like to make a move, it doesn't matter. Everyone really loves where they live for the most part. They really find out what they like about the area and the change. And they say, gosh, I never knew I was going to like this as much as I do. They tell their friends. There's usually more of a movement following them. So I don't anticipate, it might be not as instant where I've got to get up there quickly before school starts because all my kids are online. But I do think over the next few years, that trend of kind of going back to the suburbs is still going to follow. The biggest issue you guys are going to have is inventory, and doing everything you possibly can to control the inventory, because he who has the most listings wins. So really trying to get as many as possible. I talked with a few agents about different strategies on trying to grow their business by reaching out to existing houses with letters saying that you have buyers for existing housing types, and just really trying to be out there promoting yourself and using every single listing you have. It's almost like not just advertising that listing until it's sold, but like advertising that listing even after it's sold significantly to generate more listings. That we have a lot of different things coming up. You guys will see when it gets up there this fall, the new listing presentation brochure and the new listing presentation tote. I think that will be I'm really looking forward to that change, just so it's a little bit more streamlined. It's repurposed, so it's recyclable to a certain degree. And I think it's just even a greater differentiator. We're also ordering all new black bars for the signs. so that the logo is reflective. So when cars drive by the signs, they no longer seem like they're hidden at night. I think we solved that. And so we'll be able to get those in by the end of the year as well. And then also Winnetka, I don't know if you guys have unveiled it, but we are doing a full office makeover. So that looks really great. I think that, you know, the outside of the office is changing, the color is changing, the whole inside. We're turning one of the conference rooms into a lounge area. We're, you know, fixing the problem finally in the back and redoing and turning the back into private offices. And it's really a cool layout, and it will be, you know, uncomfortable for a few months while we're building it out. But I think the end result, we're trying to get it all done, you know, before next summer, while you guys are using the office less frequently, because we do think there's, you know, obviously going to be a ton of COVID going around, and people are going to, who knows, you know, what elements we'll be able to keep open and how we'll be able to service you. But we don't anticipate everybody freewheeling back to the office anytime over the next 6 months. So that gives us time to redo the entire office. And now I think it feels good that we have some permanence. You know, I hope Tom is here permanently, but, you know, let's be honest, we had like the wave of shift. We had this, you know, dominant managing broker who was, you know, is really thoughtful and was sought after. And Amy really became the, you know, leader there, and the sense of permanence forever. And when we shifted that and went through a couple of changes, especially with the previous front desk manager, the office manager changing, that's a lot of change for you guys to adopt over a, you know, call it 6-month period. So thank you for having patience. I think we're on good path. I love Tom. I think Tom is great, and I think he'll be a great leader for you guys. And I know his relationship with Amy is fantastic, and I work with him closely. So I think you guys are in really good hands. But I feel like 21 will be good going into the year with some solid leadership back in place, and knowing who the managing broker is, who the office manager is going to be, and then giving a facelift to the entire office will kind of bring it back. You know, the numbers are ridiculous. I mean, you guys are the #1 suburban office in the state of Illinois by a ton. I mean, you are crushing it. The numbers are fantastic. So if we can just, you know, give the office a fresh facelift with new leadership, I think it'll be really good. So there were a couple of questions that I just wanted to go through that I got. A couple of people asked about the franchising side of it. You know, one of the main questions is that, you know, of course, how does this affect me? People talk about more leads with franchising. I don't know. I always feel like, who cares about a lead unless I get it, right? And so are there going to be enough? I don't think that's the biggest benefit. In all transparency, it really has everything to do with revenue and investment. The margins in brokerage have changed dramatically over the last 5 years. We want to continue investing in the business, especially in the technology side and the marketing side. So for us to generate a new funnel of revenue through expansion, which doesn't put a strain on our leadership. These are entrepreneurs that have offices in other regions that are transporting our technology, effectively our software, and buying our physical marketing for them to grow in their regions. And it's a far more profitable side of the business. So for us, it's allowing us to, I think right now we're hiring about 6 new engineers, 6 new coders to help continue to build platform. And those benefits allow us, right now we've got a year queue of technology add-ons that we're building. So it allows us to build them faster and invest in more into our marketing. So you'll see a ton of changes happening significantly faster in the marketing collateral. Even though I still feel our listing presentation is the best, it's going to improve significantly. So that happens without a lot of strain on me or Mike or our internal leadership. I think Kevin will put some energy into that expansion, which is good that Amy's solely focused on training and coaching now. And we hired Chris Lim, and we'll hire another person from leadership to expand the franchise side. But so far, so good. We'll make some big announcements coming up in the next few months, probably like January. There are some sizable companies nationally that'll switch to app properties. I think it'll surprise everybody in the market of the success of that franchise, because this usually when franchises open, they're smaller companies, 100 million, 200 million. I think ours will be in excess of $1 billion. So there'll be major market players that are wanting the brand and wanting the marketing. So I think that side is going to be very successful. And the more successful that is, the more we can invest locally and continue to grow. So, I don't know what more offices we'll really have in the North Shore, right? I don't know what more offices we really need. Right now, we have Cherville, Naperville, and Algonquin going. But as far as overall marketing, some of you guys saw the 8-page gatefold that we did in Winnetka, and we did in Glencoe, and we did in Lake Forest. We're doing periodically in different regions, and we're going to be doing more of that heading into next February because of the inventory shortage. So we as a company are doing these direct mails and these efforts through print advertising. We'll start a new campaign using a lot of the statistics. You'll see a ton of it in December, January, and February. That's all talking about our market share, our list price to ask price, and our average market time. So I've got a huge North Shore marketing blitz going to help you guys when you're talking with sellers to try to get their listing, hoping that they're on social media and seeing digital, that they're reading Sheridan Road, that they're getting direct mail, that they're seeing the reinforcement of the App Properties brand. So I don't think any of our competitors are doing individual corporate advertising. I feel like they've almost pulled out of it, which tells me that I want to like triple the amount we're doing to really help you guys get more listings. So I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to feel overly confident, but I feel like we're covering all of our bases. We're going to do a ton of corporate advertising in the North Shore to get our message in locally to the communities. We're updating our physical space and just effectively going to remodel the entire package so it'll have a new presence. We're changing the entire color on the outside to white. So we're really looking to like gloss it up and to make it kind of like if you're in beer, it's very Parisian when it's just very high gloss white. And we feel like the logo will pop and the flowers we put out will pop more, and keeping the lights illuminated to brighten up the conference rooms to give it a more youthful and color and bright look on that, while working with you guys for through Amy and all of coaching and getting you guys engaged so you can increase your marketing before spring market 21. But all I can say about that is it's going to be about inventory. That's the sole focus. How do we increase our inventory? And how you do that is by every single buyer you placed last year in from the city. Those people are like that. Those are your personal gods, because each of those people are going to be sending you referrals from their friends moving from the city. So how you acknowledge them over Thanksgiving, how you acknowledge them over the holidays, how you acknowledge them and recognize that their kids are at home homeschooling, and so you do a pop by with popcorn, just those small things that we're going to come up with through cap gifts to value them. They are the ones that are going to be sending those referrals. So don't forget that your previous clients, that's who's making you successful. So we'll try to come up with as many ideas that are affordable as possible, and the more that you can come up with on your own will just be icing on the cake. Am I missing anything, Aim, Tom?
No, that's awesome. That's exactly what I think we're all really excited about what's happening in the market, especially with the redesign for the office too. We've had quite a few questions about it. So
you know what sucks though is we don't have the meetings at that nice place, that nice country club up where the name of the country club doesn't match the neighborhood. I always get confused going to it, but I really enjoy those. Yeah, Skokie, that's in Glencoe.
Yeah.
But I always enjoy those meetings, not just for the raffle, but like to see and just be with everyone. I am going through a little bit of withdrawal, just my lack of human interaction. Like I sit in my office all day. Sometimes I go to the conference room 6 feet away from Amy or Kevin or Tom or Chris, but it's like the same folks. I don't really get to see anybody. I had one agent from Hinsdale come in and have coffee with me at the other end of the table this morning, Larissa Domino. That was cool, just because it was like a new face, but it's so weird being so far removed from everybody. That part is like, there's a lot of pluses to this where I feel like I'm a lot more productive and I'm focusing a lot of things and getting a lot more done. But I think that's because like the isolation point of it. So few people and so less traveling. So sorry about that. Hopefully we'll change that next summer.
Yes, that has lots of isolation lists for usually on Monday morning. We see them.
Yeah. You know, it is pretty weird when it's quiet how much you can get done. So I guess that's a plus on this. You know. What else do you guys want to cover?
Amy, you might have other things. I think that was really good. I think people really, what I was hearing, people really wanted to hear about what we're doing with the offices. And I think that was described, and also really good advice on what people can do with all the people moving up here from the city and just how.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a love sculpture approved for Glencoe. I had this like 5 foot by 3 foot stainless steel love sculpture made. And I'm looking for local municipalities to allow us to put it on corners. So I'm hoping Glencoe will let us in front of the office. I think that would be pretty cool. And if we can kind of have these little monument sculptures in the communities, I'm sure our competitors won't be so happy, but we'll see.
That would be awesome.
Then they have to be against love openly. So that'll probably work in our favor too.
You could make an app eventually where all the kids could, try and find all the loves.
Yeah, like that geocaching. We did that geocaching all the time as a family. That was like the coolest thing ever. Whenever we were bored, we'd go geocaching, and it was so fun. I don't know if kids still do that, but we loved it.
That's fun.
All right. Can I answer any questions of anything? Those were like all the questions that we really got. It was really more revolving about franchising and things like that.
Yeah, and I think it's just reflecting on the fact that Winnetka is 10 years old. I told the story about our first conversation sitting in the office 10 years ago, and somehow I'm still around, barely hanging on, but still around. But just wow, how much has happened in 10 years. And, I think this office really anchored so much of the success that we saw on the North Shore. It was really the place where we established agents. It's also where Highland Park brokers, Lake Forest brokers all hung their hats until, some of those other offices were expanded. So
but think about that though. What happened in Winnetka is like, I don't want to call it a miracle, but it's incredible. Like if you the camaraderie and culture that was established through there. I mean, some of the memories that I have one kid who got motion sick on our box bike at the parade and left a treat for those that were walking behind us. But just coming up there and like building the community on the North Shore through Winnetka, that's like personally, that's a very big piece of my memory and my history with that. Like all the agents and like the funny video we did with the football, that piece of it. Like, I don't know. It's a very good community up there. And it's like, that's the hard part with this COVID, that culture side of it and not being able to be together and celebrate together is kind of a bummer. And so I'd like to figure out some better ways that we can replace it. I think that, Tom, we can talk about doing some sort of like general contest within Winnetka that involves the interaction of everybody. But, Winnetka has always done a good job working together. I mean, the amount of ad-to-ad deals done from that office, I think, is ridiculous, especially the size of them and the amount is unfathomable. It's a good community.
That's good. It's also fun to hear about the history of it from you guys, just how it got started. That's exciting.
Yeah, it got started with Peter Moulton. And there was a lot of part of that was really good. Like it was very good times, it was very good.
Well, good. All right. Well, I know we're also going to be having a coffee with Mike coming up on, I think Wednesday morning. And so we'll, if we do get more questions in addition to that, we'll make sure that we circle back with him too.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot going on this year. I mean, we are with Natasha incredibly busy. So you guys will see a ton happening through marketing. North Shore is really, because we have this movement from the city to the North Shore, we're investing a lot in the marketing up there. So I hope you guys will all participate and take advantage of it, because we are going to allocate a lot of resources to the branding and marketing of the North Shore, and just the opportunity out there for families that are kind of going back to the focus on being home, and that's not going to change for a few years. Like this is a very big deal, what everyone's going through. And it's only going to become a bigger deal because all the kids in the city, or most of them, are going to school at home. And when the sun comes out in May, June, and people want to get out, I do think that you're going to see summer and spring of this year being huge having to do with, I know one thing I'd love to talk about. I'd love you guys that have potential listings to be posting them on the app. I would love you guys to work together so that you can bring the opportunities of listings to app properties agents, making sure that their client is paying the most for the house. But it's a great way to work together to help each other because you guys have the listings. I can guarantee you that an ad agent is a buyer for every single listing we have on the North Shore. Guarantee it. As long as it's priced in the market, we have that buyer. And if we can bring that opportunity internally, not just up there, but to city agents with their buyers by posting on the app and making everybody aware before it comes in the market. Like if we have all our stuff teed up and you're taking photos now for stuff coming along in February and March, I'd put that out and just say, hey, this is not going allowed till spring, but let's get everyone aware of it. And what will happen is that some of these agents will say, hey, I know you're not going online until March, but is there any way I can see it? Then you're going to call your sellers and say, hey, I have one hot buyer. Can we bring them in? I always believe in acting as if you have the listing before you get it. So when you go on a listing presentation, if you post it saying, I've got this listing or I'm going to get this listing, and you have people asking you questions, on that listing presentation, you bring it to the seller. I have 5 people in place within our organization who want to see your home. And if they say, well, I'm not ready to commit to an agent yet, would you mind signing a listing agreement for just these 5 people? And I can take them through this weekend. I think I might be able to get you top dollar or whatever it is you can say. Get those sellers on board with you. Do everything you can to lock them up so they don't list with somebody else just because that other person is charging less. But you say to them, I've got 7 people that I know are interested in this, 7 agents from my city offices with families that want to see your house. None of these other agents do that stuff. They just don't. I was just meeting with an agent this morning and I said to her, she's not the #1 agent in Winnetka, but her stats are better. I was like, make those comparisons, take that business. Be aggressive is all I can say. Right now is not time for the soft close when it comes to getting the listing. It has to do with a pen and sign here. That's the only thing that matters right now. I know Veach just said we could have our meetings at Ryan Stadium at Northwestern. If we all dress for a Bears game, I would love that. I'm all in for any of that. The one problem that we're focusing on is that any social gathering, even if there's social distance, is somewhat frowned upon over like 10 people, 25 people. And in doing that, people post it. And then when we post things that we are theoretically irresponsible as far as the limits on social gathering, it can really do more damage than good. So personally, I'm just trying to get through the next 6 months by being as responsible as possible, following the rules and being it's not fun though. I will tell you, I'm the first person that wants to sneak out and go to a party. I saw those Halloween parties that got busted. I was so jealous. It was unbelievable. I was like, if I were 18, I would have been right there.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. It's so hard. But, in most of the cases, everybody on this call is also very, very fortunate. So I also don't forget that. We're also in shelter, warm, probably well-nourished, and we all have jobs. And we're all doing okay. So we have a lot to be grateful for when it comes to that. We can make it through the next 6 to 8 months and have office meetings outside next spring or whatever we need to do. But Tom, I'm sure you've got some creative stuff set up.
We're working on it. Yeah, we've got things happening. So between walks and some things that we have at the end of this meeting.
All right, cool. I'm happy. I think those were all of the stuff here. But whatever you need from me, if anybody ever wants to reach out, I've got a lot of time on my hands here at Peoria. There's only about 3 people that are ever running around here with me. I'm here pretty much every day from about 8 to 5. So reach out, please. You all have my number.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, good. Well then, with that, if you do have any additional questions, actually, we do, we'll send out a reminder right after this meeting, but we have a coffee with Mike coming up as well. You can also reach out to Thad, as he just said. So we want to make sure that everybody's really connected during this time when it's super hard to be connected. I'm also really sort of honored to be here at the 10-year anniversary of this office, because I'm seeing all these people now who are posting that it's been an amazing 10 years, that they've been here from the beginning. So really fun to see this. All right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a cool to celebrate the 10 years by just giving it a whole new look and feel. I think it'll feel good. I mean, some of these offices, it's not the most dated, but when you go in there, it feels old. Even though it's only 10 years, like it feels just old. So I think it feeling fresh and new will feel really, really good.
Awesome.
But yeah, as far as, I could not be more proud of that office. I don't care really what it physically looks like after 10 years. It means it's gotten a lot of use. It's like a good house. Usually after you've lived in a house with your family for 10 years, it might not look so great, but it has a lot of love in it and has a lot of great memories. And that office does. A lot of deals got done there. That was I'm glad we're redoing it. Like anything old, you got to, start fresh. But that office to me, when I go in there, feels very warm and very cozy. And I met a lot of people that I really care about there. So it's really nice.
That's great. All right, well, thanks. If anybody else has any additional questions, you can put them there in the chat over the side, or we can directly through any of us, and we'll get those for you. We have about 15 minutes left or so, 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to just take us through the next section here. We talked about things coming down the road and ways that our partners are also making your jobs easier. And Mike and I talked this week, and he's come up with some really kind of exciting things specifically for Winnetka agents that I wanted to share with her. He's going to share with you. And Mike, if you'd like to talk, I kind of hope you don't mind, I put your picture in there as well.
Need to unmute myself. Wow, I'm a young little buck in that picture. I think this is like the George Schultz headshot. Like, need a new headshot, Mike. You must have pulled that from the archives. But I'm fine with it. I probably still own that suit. Anyway, so it's interesting. I'm just so welcoming of Tom. I've kind of been part of this office, as most of you know, going back to Managing Brokers, Ann Brand, to Amy Core, now to Tom. And what I liked about approaching Tom, well, I liked everyone, but I liked that Tom approached it in a whole new way, saying like, hey, what benefit? Well, now it's proper rate, not guaranteed rate. What benefit can we really bring to the agents? And we kind of came up with a few things, which I think is really the best way to put it, is that there's more bang for your buck here than anything ever before. I have a feeling Amy Core is going to think that bang for your buck isn't a good saying, but I'm going to go with it. Really what we're going to do here, and this is for the Winnetka office only, because I'm the only proper rate person part of the Winnetka office, is that we're just going to kind of take a no-brainer approach and just, it's the second bullet point down, completely waive our standard lender fee, which you also know as an origination fee, which is $12.90. And our loans come with no points. So you know when someone a buyer or someone refinancing, when they shop for a mortgage, they say, what's your rate and what's your fees? Well, now when you're referring them to me, you can pass this along that we don't have any fees. We're not going to charge points. We're waiving the $12.90. And I put it on loan amounts or buyers above $500,000. Yes, if they're at $495 or $485, I'll still honor it. So just start to pass that along to your clients, because there's no funny business there. We're not rolling it in to the loan amount. We're not doing anything like that. It's literally going to be a credit of $12.90 against the $12.90 in fees on any of their transactions. And just so you know, in Illinois, a refinance with rates so low, that's about half the cost of a refinance. The other costs are title and appraisal. Title and appraisal probably about $1,000. So you can pass along that to people that might already have a mortgage. Hey, this guy Mike's through our office is going to waive their fee. So to refinance is pretty close to a flat $1,000. So I think that's pretty huge. And we'll kind of have that ongoing at least through the end of the year and kind of see what traction it takes. This is for your personal deals, family, friends, but then also buyers. Down to the, did we put the, I don't see it worded here perfectly, but or maybe it is, I'm sorry, it's the first bullet point. When you have a deal going south, we hope that never happens, and it's lender related. A lot of times that buyer is a little hurt at that moment. They're in a transaction, they don't know if they can get financing. Passing them along to me is even harder of a referral at that point. So what we do on those deals is, yes, you need a new appraisal. Maybe the deal went south with the other lender due to the appraisal. We definitely need a new appraisal, but upon closing, we're going to cover that cost for you. So you're not paying for two appraisals and working with two lenders and fighting your way through this, now tough deal. Know that they're going to come to us and not have to pay for a second appraisal. I think that I've seen over the years kind of lightens the load for them. It kind of makes it burn a little bit worse when they now need to start over with a whole new lender. So hopefully that kind of helps. And then down to, I jumped around a little bit, but bullet point 3, with all these things, when you're starting to refer buyers and clients that need to refinance, once we start working together, let's have a conversation of, being RESPA compliant and splitting the cost of your postcards and mailers. You'd probably be surprised, if you're not already, how many agents in your office co-brand with me and send mailers out to their sphere, and we split the cost every month or every quarter or every year, however it works out. So keep that in mind once we're starting to work together. And obviously I want to have that relationship. I don't want to just, have it be transactional. Once we do, that's when we should start co-branding and me helping you cover that cost. So that's all I got.
Yeah, thank you so much. And just to add a little bit of an extra point to the special attention to your deals. When I first came on board, we had a deal between two agents in this office that actually was in jeopardy of falling apart almost immediately, from what was going on. And Mike was able to step in and really come back with a couple of appraisals actually, and really as a backup, try to keep this moving and keep it going. And it was a big help. So I got to see it in action. So there's no lip service to this. It actually happens, and it happens often. So he's really good at that. So just to consider that. I got to see it in person. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay. Next, we're just going to talk a little bit. Amy's going to tell us a little bit about coaching and some of the things I've heard from my interviews. As I mentioned, I've interviewed about 60, 65 of you so far, and my goal is to try to meet with everyone if I can. I know we're super, super busy. I'm happy to do it by Zoom. But one of the things that came up was just the idea around who this programming is actually for. I know she's got some thoughts.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because we've had so many people respond to the surveys on the weekends, and it blows me away that, we've got people that are doing $15, $20 million worth of business, super busy, and kind of going back to the basics. So many of them have said, I've been way off of my routine. So they've kind of really used the It's All About Love program to kind of reorganize themselves. And, it's just something that I encourage all of you to do. The beauty of it is we tried to keep this in really easy doses because we know that your weeks are really busy. Sometimes you've got a day where you're running all day long with a buyer or with clients, and you can't get to what we've put together. All of this stuff has been videoed. So at any point in time, you can catch up on what we're doing for the weeks. And the way that we designed this 12-week program was to really help you break down each of the major components of your business with the idea that you are slowly building up your business plan for 2021. Usually we do a shotgun approach to business planning. That's what we've done in years past, where you come and you do a 3-hour session, you write all your goals, you put it in a nice notebook, and oftentimes we never look at it again. What we tried to do over this 12 weeks, giving the opportunity of doing it virtually and having it on demand for you, is to break each of these nuggets down and really help you focus on what's important in your business, give you some of the daily motivation that you need, given that COVID has been, kind of a really interesting twist for this year. And then we're really trying to help you start thinking about next year. It's going to be really busy, but I will tell you, some of these agents, we've got brand new brokers to seasoned professionals who are really taking the time to tap into this program to get ready for next year. Many of you did the Do It Now, which was just sort of a 4-week dose of something similar. And as a result, people have had some of their best fall and summer years this year. So I really encourage you to just listen in, take the nuggets, and really try to work on bettering your business for 2021, because it's going to be busy, but you have an opportunity to double your business if you really focus.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll just also say for myself, you know, as someone who's just been recently selling or still closing out my business a little bit, that no matter how busy I've got, it was very, very helpful for me in getting to the next level I was trying to get to by stopping for a split second, refocusing on the things I needed to do. And I know that some of, as Amy said, some of the top agents that we have in the company right now are completely involved in this. So regardless of where you're at, and in fact, this is kind of even a better time right now. It's slowed down in the last 2 or 3 weeks, just a little bit. We've had a little bit of a break. So this is the time to actually put this all together and get ready for the spring market, because we're going to go through some national data in just a second, but from everything, from every single indication, it looks like it's going to be a really busy year next year. So now's the time. And if you do have any questions about that too, you can always see me here in the office. So in fact, that's what I want to talk about now real quick. There's, Amy has turned me on to this website that I'm a data guy. I do love to see what's happening at a national level. And this is super exciting information. This is happening again, like I said, at a national level. I'm going to just talk a little bit about this each. I've just to move the things around here on my screen because I can't see it with all the things. But housing experienced a V-shaped recovery. What it means is that we're now exceeding our pandemic levels. So we had a big drop that took place right when COVID hit. And now what we're starting to see are levels going way, way beyond that. I know in this office, we all feel that. We've been talking about it. Everyone's been really busy. And there's just been so much going on, and we know this inherently, but it's also good to see this, you know, at a national level. Here's what it looks like statistically. So you can see this is again national numbers, but housing market recovery with February 1st being the baseline. You know, we had the big drop that took place through, you know, right around 3/14, I think 3/13 was the actual date, and then starting in May, it started coming back up again, and now we're actually just a little bit higher than we were even when this all took place. And I know we're also sending every Tuesday morning, I send out data that shows what the recovery looks like, or what our sales look like now versus this time last year from COVID. And we're still significantly higher across the board. These are year-over-year changes, you know, taking place based on lots of different resources that we can see what's taking place. So we know from showings, we're up 60%, purchase 25, pending deals 21, existing home sales 10, new home sales 43% higher. And then going back to what Thad was talking about before, it's an inventory issue. So the existing home inventory is down 40%, and we all know that. I mean, we're having that issue across the board. New home inventory is also down 33%. So it is absolutely going to be a listings game for next year. And we're going to have to just, you know, really work on getting those listings as much as we can, and then capitalizing on the people that we've brought up from the city. I think that was such a really good point to hear that. If we look at it the other way too, one of the things that made me nervous was consumer spending, because obviously that's a precursor to what takes place with people's comfort in buying a home. So, you know, 4/1, consumer spending was down 31%, which is really significant. But as you look at it, it's come back, you know, really fast. It's one of those things that we're seeing month after month after month going back up again. And back in September, the latest data I've got is September 1st. It's only down 4% now from what it was when all this took place. I was really surprised by that. And it's really encouraging to see that. And really all the slides we're going to talk, I'm just going to show you real quick, point to this, that it's really going to be a good year next year. Unemployment rates. So we look at 9% roughly as being unemployment rates that you want to keep your eye on. And that's what these reports refer to. So unemployment dropped to 14.7% in April when we had all of the furloughed and unemployed. It's now down to 7.9%. So with that being said, that's well within the 9% range, which is really good. And then just another way of looking at the comparison of unemployment, which I know we've talked about this in a couple of our one-on-ones, but if you look at the biggest events that have taken place from the 1980s oil recession, Great Recession, the Great Depression, and then you look at 2020, it's really been only 4 months that it's taken place, and we're already coming back out of the other end of it. So some analysts I've been reading have saying that we're on the front of it, and we will be going a little bit further along. But from this statistic, at least, we're only 4 months into it, and it looks like it's going to be pretty light. And then second to last, this is just talking about the number of mortgages that are going into foreclosure or just forbearance. And you can see that it's also going in the right direction and has not had an effect like we thought it would be. And the projections are, it's just not nearly as bad as we thought was going to take place. And I don't know if Mike can talk about this maybe as well, but it seems like everything's looking much better than we could have expected.
Couldn't agree more. I'm not hearing it a lot. What I hear is, I mean, there's certain people that are dramatically affected by what's going on and what's gone on in the last 9 months. But I think a lot of people typically in our market here, which would be the North Shore, are saving more money than ever, thinking about, other investments, other second home purchases, things like that. So I think that's, one of the other reasons why the market is better, not only in our area but other places for that reason. I'm not hearing, and trust me, people, when the letter F, being foreclosure or forbearance, comes on, and you'll see that in inventory. I don't think there's much around the North Shore or in Chicagoland, but maybe that's something that changes in months to come. But yeah, I would say completely agree with this.
Okay, great. And then just really talking about months inventory. It's not something I've heard that much about, but I know that in a balanced market, it's anything under 6 months typically is what I've heard. Some people say 9 months, but we are back in, as we could see very easily, that we're in a seller's market. We all feel it, we know it. And this is just one more statistic. We just like to see everything points to the same direction. And then this goes back to what Mike was just saying. The percentage of home equity right now is at 42%. If you use Remine ever, and if you don't know how to use it, I'm happy to show you. But if you don't use Remine, which is a tool that we have through the MLS, you can see what people's ownership is in equity in the homes that you're farming through that tool. And it's really nice to be able to see that this is going in hand with that as well, that more people have equity in their homes than ever before. And then this is almost the last slide, sorry. I just love this stuff. The protection of future home prices. Almost across the board, everyone is suggesting that home prices are going to increase over the next year. So this is really good news for us, obviously, but it strikes to the fact that we're going to have lower inventory, but we are going to see an increase in home prices according to several reputable resources over the next year. And then really just the idea of this is that this is very different than the last. I'm not going to go through each of these. I have recorded this slide, but it just talks again from several people that this is the way it's going to work. And then the last slide I have here, and this goes back to what Thad was just talking about, this is happening across the country, that price acceleration in the suburban properties is higher than what's taking place in the city. And the percentage of homes that are available are dropping. So again, all of these things are just different ways of saying the same thing, that next year is going to be busy. So with that, I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the news that's coming up, which is kind of exciting. And we've got a couple of really exciting things to talk about here. So first, sorry, I just had to let someone in the room here. So first we have, and you may have seen Sissy. I just wanted to give a welcome. Sissy just joined us. You may have seen her in the office. For those that do come in, I'm going to give her a split second here to just introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her. Sissy, and
hi guys.
Say hello.
Hi, thank you. I'm so glad to be a part of Winnetka, and I can't wait to be there more in person and see people. Former corporate trainer in executive recruiting, and then a elementary school teacher. And I've always wanted to do real estate. So through COVID and everything stopping, I was able to sit down and do it all online. So it's been great.
Yeah, well, we're super excited to have you, Sissy, and
thank you.
Great addition to the team. I also wanted to introduce you to Kiki. And let me see if I can. You might be able to mute yourself, Kiki. I don't know if you can there. If not.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me okay?
Sure can. Great.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Kiki Cannon. I'm born and raised in Wilmette. A Volca Mary Murphy alum and New Chair. My husband, a New Chair Mackenzie alum. Got 3 kids, New Chair hockey player, Wilmette Junior High, but plays for Chicago Bulldogs. And now I got a little Lucy, 1st grade at Mackenzie. So I cover all the buildings, all the activities. And I have been a stager, had my own company for 10 years. COVID hit and staging stopped, and I just can't sit still. So I finally pursued my goal of getting my real estate license and joining at Properties just 4 weeks ago today. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kiki and Sissy both. We're super excited to have you on board. And if anybody needs support, these two are super, super eager to get involved. So reach out to them. So a couple of other things that I'm excited to announce about. One is the resurrection of floor duty. I know a couple of people have asked about it. So it's now new and improved. It's virtual. You can do this from home. We're asking that you are at your computer. We're going to start this December 1st, and we'll do shifts from 9 to 12, 12 to 3, and 3 to 5:30. The front desk will email everybody in the office to sign up. That'll be coming up now. I have a funny story about, as Kelly and Catherine Mangle knows, when I first started the business, I did floor duty everywhere I could get. And I had gotten quite a large call on one of my first calls and had an opportunity to almost work with them. My clients ended up going a different direction, but it's can be very, very lucrative. It's a great way to get yourself into the business, whether you're new in the business or old in the business. But these calls do come in occasionally, and why not? You're working anyway. Why not sign up for it and utilize it? It works. Also, social media. So we're trying this out. Thad had asked a couple of us newer managing brokers to come up with ideas we thought would be helpful for the offices. And one of those that came out of that was a social media kit, basically. So for those of you that haven't really done your social media, and for those that actually do social media pretty well, this is a kit that you can use at the front desk. It's already there. You can check it out. It has a tripod with a little holder for your phone, a light ring, which anybody, if your kids are doing TikTok, or if you're a big kid and you're doing TikTok like I am, you can actually utilize it. It gives you a really good lighting, and it is super easy to set up, and you can do that. If people want, I can also get a green screen so you can actually put things behind you. One of the things I did with my meetings with clients was to put a picture of their house behind me when I set up a meeting to have an online listing presentation with them. And it's just really easy to do, and it's kind of cute, and it kind of makes you stand out from everybody else. So front desk is versed on it. They can help you with it, or I can help you with it. Just let us know, but you can sign up for that right through the front desk, and they can get you the kit, and we just do it right here in the office. Just a reminder, the benefits meeting, we're doing a benefits call today at 3:30 by Zoom. We'll send out a reminder in just a few minutes, but this is also something where you can learn about the employee benefits and how to sign up for it. I know there's quite a few questions on it, how it works, how it compares to maybe another family members. If you have a spouse or someone in your family that you can be enrolled with, you can kind of make a comparison on the best way to go with that. But it does end this Friday, so I do suggest if you have any questions, it's a great way to get your answers to your questions there. As a reminder, this Wednesday at 10:30, we also have Coffee with Mike, so he will really answer any questions that Thad didn't today. And so if there's anything that came up that you'd like to do, you can email Lisa Latch, and she will send out that again as well. But I know an email came directly from Mike to everybody asking their further questions. There are some that have come through already, but if you have any questions at all, he'll also be spending some time with us here in Winnetka.
He'll also answer how old he was when he took that picture, because
one of the things I had to do is I was looking this morning for pictures of everybody, so I pulled them off the internet. So unfortunately, I found one of myself with a rattle, but I figured that was too early. Okay, so also just a quick reminder, we have the headshots this Friday. This was hugely popular. We're almost completely sold out already. There's only a few spots left. It's a great opportunity to get a refresh your photo of yourself. You can use it for social media. You can use it for anything you want. Depending on the weather, I was just talking to the photographer, we may actually go down the street. So that day, depending on the weather, we'll decide where we're going to do it. It will be socially distant, so you can do that. Also, we're going to have a food truck, Fat Shallot food truck. It's on us. Whether you are getting your headshot or not, you can please sign up and get a free lunch on us and drop by and pick it up. They're all just going to be pre-made, so you can pick them up socially distant. And I think we're allowing up to 3 or 4 lunches per person, so that's kind of nice. So we'll also be sending a reminder on that as well. The one question that did come up quite a bit on that, when you go to check out, you use the word properties as the coupon code and it'll then be free. If you don't, it'll try to charge you. So just a reminder of that. Okay. And then the next Winnetka walk, we're going to do another walk. That was pretty fun. People really liked it. They asked for a later time, so we'll go back and forth on the timing. It'll definitely be a little chillier on Friday, November 20th. So we'll want to suit up properly and we'll go from there. But it was a lot of fun. I'll have hot coffee again from Starbucks, so keep us warm as we do our socially distant walking. So yeah, with all of this, can we keep up with this? We have been super, super busy these last few months. Everybody's been busy and everyone's been almost kind of exhausted, I think, to a certain extent, and taking the time to just take care of ourselves through the All About Love campaign, which a lot of that is about taking care of ourselves as well, but also just thinking about gearing up for next year, because this lull, I think, is just the calm before the storm, before it all starts again. So especially right after the elections, I imagine we're going to start to see a lot of activity again. We have a couple questions too. I just want to make sure I'm hitting any questions that came out of here. One second. Okay. Mike is awesome, ditto and awesome. Okay, good. So it's all just sort of complimentary things. If anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself and we can answer some questions as well. Or just put it in the chat. No? Okay, well, I'm also here and Amy's here and available for any questions you might have. I really appreciate you taking the time this morning. I know there's a lot of stuff taking place, but thank you for joining us, and we'll be talking soon. And if you have not set up a time to talk with me, please, please, please do. It's always open. I'll resend that link out to everyone. It's going to be, it's been pretty popular with everybody because of our schedules and not being in the office. So I'm just going to leave it open all the time. So really, anytime you want to meet, I'm available. You can obviously call me. You can call the front desk. Anybody can schedule right away as well. So I'd love to talk. Amy, did you have anything else?
No, just let's make it another great 10 years, right? Let's get to work. Got lots to do. But just let us know what you need and feedback on any of our coaching and training as we evolve. We've got a lot of great stuff planned as we gear into 2020, but we love your feedback. So let us know. Yeah,
and I do have this recording. This presentation was recorded, and I can also send out the slides. I know Dan was asking, can we get the slides, and happy to provide those for you, as well as any of that data that might be good for your listing presentations, where I can get that for you at any time. All right, thank you guys very, very much. Really appreciate it.
Bye guys, make it a great day.
Yeah.
Thanks guys.